In previous tutorial, we learned how to configure and create a simple REST API. We created interfaces, membership management interface, and a membership interface. Now in this tutorial, we will modify these interfaces according to the service contract principles. Let's begin with creating a membership table first. Create db_schema.xml file to configure the table script. Create a table node and specify membership entity table. The first column is entity ID, which should be an identifier and primary key as well. Specify the comment. Next we have a title column, then description column, price column, workspace, collaborator, storage, code, created at, and finally updated at column. Add unique constraints for entity ID and code. Then add primary key constraint and specify the entity ID column. Next we're gonna add a customer attribute. The attribute will save customer membership selection, so that's why we will keep the class name membership. Implement the data patch interface and implement all required methods available through this interface. We don't need to return anything from both methods, get dependencies and get aliases method. So return an empty array. Create a constant which will hold the attribute code. We would require EAV setup factory instance. Inject EAV setup factory dependency. Create EAV setup instance. And then begin adding attribute. The attribute type is going to be customer. Then specify attribute code. And finally attribute options. Now retrieve the attribute set ID using customer entry parameter, and then retrieve the default group ID. Next add EAV config model dependency. Retrieve the membership attribute using EAV config instance. Update attribute set ID, then attribute group ID, then set used in forms to specify where the attribute can be visible. First admin HTML_customer to manage from admin side, and then registration form. Now we need to instantiate the customer attribute resource model. Save the attributes using resource model. Run setup upgrade command to install script. Before working with service contracts, let's perform some modifications. First, we will move the membership interface to data directory, create the data directory, and move the membership interface. Make sure everything is updated accordingly. Update the preference path as well. Now create resource model directory and then create membership resource model. Extend from abstract DB resource model. Invoke init method. Specify the table name in first parameter and entity ID in second. Now open the membership model. Extend the model from abstract model instead. Override construct protected method. Invoke the init method and specify the resource model path. Create membership directory inside resource model and create the collection model. Invoke the init method and provide the model and resource model in parameters respectively. Now open the membership interface and specify ID getter and setter methods. Next, add ID constant. Now we need to create a service interface. Go ahead and create a repository interface. We will call it membership repository interface. First of all, create get method. It should accept an ID parameter. The return type should be membership data interface. Next, create a method getByCode. This should take membership code parameter. Return type is again membership interface. Create save method. This should require membership interface instance in parameter. The return value will also be membership interface. Next one is delete method. This method also requires membership interface instance. The returning value will be a boolean. Create delete by ID method. Entity ID should be provided as a parameter to this method. This method will return a boolean value. Now is the time for membership repository interface implementation. So go ahead and create membership repository. We are creating this inside resource model directory. We will need model and resource model instances. So go ahead and first inject resource model dependency and create its instance. Then create membership factory instance. Begin with the get method. Create membership model instance from factory instance. Load the membership using ID. If requested record is not found, throw no such entity exception. Otherwise, return membership instance. We need to specify the exception using throws keyword. Make sure to use full name qualifier. We also need to map the membership repository interface to its model. Now back in membership repository module, let's create logic for getByCode method. First create membership instance, then load the membership using code. This time we need to tell about the field name we want to filter. Let's copy rest of logic from get method. Specify throws keyword with exception class in the comment. Next we will work on save method. Before that, let's update the exception message and parameter in getByCode method. Save the membership instance. Make sure to specify the related exception in comments. Return the instance. If membership record is failed to save, this will return a null ID, so throw a localized exception. We also need to make sure the record is not duplicated for same code. We can check this when membership has not provided ID or it's a new record. We also need to ignore the exception if code is not matched. In case if membership loaded using provided code, we will set the membership instance ID. Let's set the ID to null in case of exception in order to avoid any complications. Time to implement logic in delete method. Delete the membership using resource delete method and pass membership instance to it. Catch the exception and send could not delete exception with custom message. Let's fix the reference in message. This should be person1 instead. And finally return true. Next, implement the logic inside delete by ID method. Invoke the delete method and return its value. When providing the membership instance, we can load it from get method. Now add expected exception delete method definition inside membership repository interface. Time to update the API configuration. Modify load-by-code API. Replace the membership management interface with the membership repository interface. And replace getPlanByCode with getByCode method. Flashing the cache is required after this update. Now if we perform this request, an exception will be returned in response. This is because no such record exists in the database. So we need another API where we can add or update our record. So go ahead and create this API. Copy an existing configuration. The method will be post in this case. Update the interface class to membership repository interface. Replace method with save. API is ready now. Duplicate an existing request. Change method to post. Update request name. The path stays same. Next we need to build the body request. The request data should be in JSON format. If you open the repository interface and take a look at the save method, a membership interface is specified in parameter. We need exactly this parameter as a key to the data. Make sure you specify the fully qualifier name of a class in comment. Membership is the main key and it contains object data. ID should be null if we're creating new record. Specify all of the required keys accordingly that are needed to build membership interface. So if you send the request, information is saved. In response, we get the saved information. Now if we retry running get membership API, this time we get the results as expected. We can also remove the membership record. We can achieve this either using delete method and providing the membership instance, or we can simply invoke delete by ID method and provide membership ID. We will go with the simple way, that's we will use delete by ID method. So go ahead and create delete API configuration, duplicate existing configuration, change the method type to delete, update method to delete by ID. We will require ID parameter right in URL. Before going ahead, you must flush cache, duplicate existing request, change the method to delete, update the title, then update the URL according to API configuration, provide ID value, and send request. The operation was successful with the true response. So let's verify with the get request. An exception is thrown, which is an expected behavior and indicates the record was removed. Next, we are going to update the membership listing API as well. So go ahead and open membership repository interface. Define getList method. The method requires a search criteria interface as an argument, and return is going to be a search results interface. Here we are going to create our own search results interface and return it in response. So go ahead and create membership search results interface. The interface will extend search results interface. First, create the key constants. Key underscore items will be equal to items. Key underscore search underscore criteria will be criteria. Key underscore total underscore count equals to total underscore count. Let's override the get items method. The return type should be an array with the type membership interface model. Next, we have a set items method. Accepting array of membership interfaces. Return current instance. Next method is get search criteria. And set search criteria. Next method will be get total count and set total count. Now go ahead and create membership search results model. Implementing the membership search results interface. Before implementation, let's add preference to this interface. Extend from abstract simple object. Now add implementation. Now open the membership repository model and implement getList method. We need to correct the typo in method name. Before going further, we need to implement the reset of the request interface. This interface includes _reset state method that class must implement. The purpose of this interface is to make sure the state of existing props or objects should reset across different requests. Here we will use this to reset the collection object. So first go ahead and create the membership collection property, having null value initially. Then inject resource model, membership factory and membership collection factory dependencies. Now is the time to implement the logic for the getList method. Create collection instance. We also need membership search results instance, so inject it. Create a search results instance. Let's make it factory class and update the object name as well. Call create method and assign search results interface instance to the results property. Next, set search criteria. Now we will need collection processor instance. Inject the collection processor interface. The purpose of this interface is to process collection by applying filter, sorting, and pagination to a collection. Based on criteria specified by a search criteria interface object, go ahead and invoke the process method and pass search criteria and membership collection objects in parameter. The method will do all collection processing magic for us, and the collection instance will be modified as a result. Now set the collection items for results instance, then update the total count using setTotalCount method, and finally return results property. Now open WebApi XML file and update listing API configuration accordingly. Change the service class to membership repository interface and replace getPlans method with getList method. Flush the cache. Rename the request to search membership plans. The request path stays same, except we will add query parameters to it. Specify search criteria containing page size key with a value 50. Send the request. Something seems wrong here. Let's investigate. It seems something not right with the return response. Open membership repository interface. Here we need to fix the return type. The return type should be membership search results interface. Make sure to flush the cache. Now retry. This time we got the result as expected. Let's add a few more items. Our next step is to store and retrieve the customer selected plan. For this purpose, we are going to utilize a membership management interface. So first clean all the existing code from both the interface and model. Now begin with adding get membership plan method. Method requires customer ID parameter. The return type will be membership data interface. Now implement the method. We will require a bunch of few dependencies. So first inject customer repository interface dependency, then membership repository interface. Implement the logic. First retrieve the customers using customer ID. Retrieve membership attribute using get custom attribute method and pass the attribute code. If the attribute is not null, then retrieve its value. Otherwise, we will specify some default value like free. Retrieve the membership by code and return the membership instance. Add expected exception, no such entity exception. Next, add customer membership API configuration. The URL path will be v1 membership and it takes customer ID parameter. In service node, specify class membership management interface and method is get membership plan. Let's keep the resource anonymous for now. Flush the cache. Duplicate this request. Change method type to post. Replace ID parameter with customer ID. Rename the request. Since we have no request body, so set it to none. In parameter, specify customer ID value and send request. We didn't have any membership plan value assigned to any customer, so we got a record from default value. Let's try with a different customer ID. We encountered the exception because the customer does not exist with this ID. We now need to save membership ID for a customer. So go ahead and create the update membership plan method. Open a membership management interface and create update membership plan method. The first parameter will be customer ID, while second one will be the membership code. Add docs or comments. Now it is time to implement this method. Open membership management model. Implement the update membership plan method. First retrieve membership by code. Then load the customer by ID. Now invoke set custom attribute method. For key, specify attribute code and the code for its value. Finally, compare the membership code with the provided code and return the resulting boolean value. Oh, and we also need to update the customer by saving them using the customer repository instance. Create API configuration. The method is going to be put. Specify the API path v1/membership and then specify the customer ID parameter. And second parameter is code. Define service. The service class name is membership management interface and method is update membership plan. Use anonymous resource for now. Now flush the cache, duplicate this request, and change method type to put, rename the request, add the code parameter next to the customer ID parameter, specify the code value and send request. The value will be returned, which means request accomplished successfully. Now if we check the get membership plan request, we can see that the updated membership plan is returned. Test with other plans as well. If a plan does not exist, a localized exception is thrown. In next video, we will talk about API resources and how we can use them to restrict API accessibility. Please subscribe and support this channel. Thanks for watching.